Hello everyone. So today we'll discuss about the new protocol which is introduced by Google on 9th of April. Uh, it's an agent-to-agent protocol, A2A, right? So how the agent will communicate with each others. What are the standards that we'll have to follow so that agent can communicate to get the data from the different agents. So uh, it's work similar like that we have in the OpenID, right? So what we do in the OpenID configurations, we expose that well-known definitions from where we'll do the auth authentications, right? Like we have this Google, right? So So we have this well definitions, well-known OpenID configurations. Here we already have that which on which point we'll have to call, right? How we'll get the token, how we'll perform these operations, what are the definitions, how exactly we'll get these details, and what are the response type we will get it, right? All these definitions we provide here on this endpoint so that the application which are registered on the Google, so the end applications can authenticate through the Google and through the Google, right? So similar concept Google has introduced in the A2A protocol as well. So we can see it here as well. Uh, so like let's see, today we are launching a new protocol called A2A supporting contribution from 50 technology partners, blah blah blah. These are the companies that are contributing here in the A2A protocol. And yeah, so these are the capability, how exactly will discovers, how the agent will communicate with each others, how they will discover. So this is the one of the key area that will cover today, uh, to discover how that which agents that will have to use to communicate the data, right? So you guys can go and check this developers.google blog on this A2A protocol, and we'll also see how agent and MCP protocol is working together. So we'll have that agent, right? As agent will have their own LLM communications, and the agent will communicate with each other, and they can also communicate with external agents through the A2A protocol. So how they will do, we'll see, and how it will also communicate with MCP server. We'll see it together. Now uh, let's see. Suppose we have one agent, right? A1. It's exposing some resource R1. We have A2, which actually exposing some resource R2. So how they will communicate, right? So there will be A2A server, and A2A server will expose some well-known definitions of agents.json here, and through this A2A server, A1 and A2 will communicate and share their resources, right? So they will have to create A2A client here. A2A client, it will act as a A2A client. A1 will act as a A2A client, right? Uh, okay, now we'll see how this MCP server and A2A server will communicate with different agents, and how they will share the data between the different agents. So for the demo purpose, we have used CrewAI to create that agents and to communicate with the A2A server. We'll see it together. So how this is doing, let me share some snipping tool. Okay, let's understand this one first. So suppose we have a database, right? Suppose we have one database, and this MCP server actually getting those response from the database. Let's consider we have here we have a CosmosDB, right? So MCP server fetching those details from the database. Here we have exposed some functions, right? This is basically MCP tool functions, MCP functions, right? We'll see how exactly we'll create this MCP functions, and these functions will get it here on the MCP client. So MCP client will execute this using the OpenAI, depending depending on the definitions, whatever that we are getting through these agents, right? So suppose this agents wants to get some information related in this example. Suppose agents wants to get some information related with the patient, right? So there are some request that agent will ask, right? So on this agents, it will first get that which types of tool that basically serve these types of requests that agent has asked, and for that it will use the OpenAI, and then it will execute this. MCP client will call this MCP server, and internally this will call this CosmosDB and execute this and get this response and send it to agents. Now the agents then again it will call so agent will again call some other agent, right, to get that some family related history or some other informations. You can take your own use case. So for here we suppose someone wants to get the patient related information, so we have this on our database, and there are some other resources, some other agents which is serving to get that data related with the family history and other details, right? And we already have that on the rack, so we will get it through the rack. So here we are performing some RAG operations as well. So this agent, once it will get all this information related with patients, so it will call this the second agents through the MCP server. Here we have another MCP server which is basically invoking these agents, right? And these agents will perform some RAG operations to get that informations uh, from other database, right? And uh, and how exactly it will do through the agent card. So how A2A protocol is working. So A2A protocol used to communicate between agents. A2A clients will discover that agents, and we say it as agent card. Like we have this card related with OpenAI ID. We already saw that the domain name well known, OpenAI, sorry, it's my mistake, OpenID configuration. And similarly organization will expose their agent details on the agent cards, and this will be the standard format, right? On which they will have to expose their agents related definitions, and that definitions will basically have the descriptions, URL, capabilities, skill sets, how they will perform, what will the authentications, how they will do the authentications while exposing their resources and all. So all these details you can see it here as well on this endpoint. Now now we'll see in details, right? So uh, we have one database where we have exposed these resources, right? Patient ID 0901, and how we'll get these informations from here, and this is one of information related to the John Day. So we'll see. So this one is the one client that we have created. So we have two solutions. The one is will get that family history, another is patient details and all. So here we have one client. From here we'll actually call this agent related information. What is that? The agents that is actually serving on this particular URL, right? And we get the descriptions. Through the descriptions, we are actually concatenating the name. This is the hard coded. Why we are using John Day? Because we have that in our database, as well as we have all this PDF. We have added this PDF in the vector DB locally we are using FAISS to perform the RAG operations as well. So uh, so we'll get all this description, and then we'll pass it to the task details and all. So how this is actually working, this is the one, this is the generation tool agents that we have exposed, right? And this is the name of the information, how this patient information that we'll get it, what are the capability, how exactly we'll get it. This is the stemmings. So we have make it a true because we are using the stemming communications between the client and server, and then we are invoking our CrewAI, right? CrewAI agents to get that informations. Here we are using patient info, right? So patient info, we have some tools in the CrewAI, and you can see it here. We have two agents, patient info agents too, and this patient family history agents, and both are using two different tools. So history, this is the patient data tools we have, and this patient data tool, what exactly it's doing, it's a calling one of the MCP server, right, to get that response from the MCP server to get the details from the database, right? And how exactly we are doing it, to get the details from the database, right? So uh, sorry, so we are getting all these details from the database. Now once we get it all these details, then it will call this history tools, because why will go in this, we are going in the sequential fashions. You can see the process is actually executing the sequential fashions in the CrewAI. So then we are calling the history. So what exactly we are doing, again we are calling this agents. So this agent, right, we are calling this agent. How we will call this agent? Through this A2A server. So you can see it here, 8001, we are exposing it here, 8001 on the A2A server. So we get the definitions, descriptions, and then we are calling this through the our payload. Whatever the request that we are getting in the query, we are passing it here in the payload through the descriptions and all, and then we are getting all these details, right? So we'll concatenate here as well the descriptions, as well as right. So we can do like this way as well. So let me add something like this. We can use a because continuously I'm using C# and Python, so I'm more familiar with the C#. So here we can use, and okay. So we'll get this response, and then once we have all these details, then CrewAI send this response to. So how exactly it's doing? So this CrewAI, in the history tools, we are calling some other endpoints out. So this endpoint basically calling this another family history uh, CrewAI, and consider this is exposed by some other organizations, right? So this organization, basically we are getting all these details through the RAG operations that we are doing it here, right? So we'll get all these details through the RAG, and then we'll get all this response from the for the particular patients, and we'll see it how exactly it's working. So right now, uh, so this one is 5001, right? And we are running all this server. So we have one MCP client server which we show it here, right? This is MCP client server that we are exposing, right? And here we are calling this um, this MCP server, right? And through this all these details, and then this one is the main server where we are calling this crew, right? This one we are calling this one this agents, right? And to get all these details, so here we have two tools. One is the patient details tool, another is history details tool. This history details tool is again calling this A2A server. So we are getting all these informations here, right? And this is the history related informations to get, and this one is executing this particular. So considering this one is exposed by some other organizations, right? So this is exposed somewhere else, so that we can execute, get those response, and leverage all these details, and through the OpenAI, and we are using GPT 4o mini OpenAI, so that we can get those response. So let's see how this system is actually working. So let me run it. So we are running one of the client, so we can consider it uh, any other tool or any other application is actually trying to communicate. So we have created one client, A2A client, which will communicate this A2A server, right? So this A2A server will, let's see the diagram together. So it's hosted on 5051, so it will communicate through the 5051. This A2A client will basically discover, so through the agent card. So this agent's card will have the some capabilities, right? So depending on the descriptions, it will call this A2A server. This A2A server is basically depending on the details and all, it will call this agents. And once it will call this agents, this agent will then go and call this MCP client. MCP client basically, this is exposed on port 5555, so it's communicating with the MCP server to get these details from some other applications, right? So this agent is communicating through MCP client, which is hosted on some server, and it is acted as a server for this particular agents to get these details from the MCP server. MCP servers internally calling the CosmosDB to get those details for the particular agents. So whatever the descriptions that we have in agents calls, we are concatenating it, and we are passing it here, and using the LLM, we are using OpenAI GPT 4.40, so 40 mini, and we are passing the requests to get that response from here, and whatever the response that we are getting, we are passing it to get the history details from here as well. And we are again doing the same agents card discovery, right? So we'll see. So let's see. So now you can see, now the crew agent is working, and it's trying to get those informations. So we'll see the discovery all these agents. So failed fishing data tools. So now you can see that it's passing the John Day. So we are doing the same, we are calling this John Day uh, to get that information per particular patient. Why we are doing? Because we have already performed that one, we have already inserted uh, the data related with all these patients in the FSSS vector DB, so that we can perform the RAG operations as well. So now we are getting this information, ECG reports, heart rate 100, right? So we can see it, uh, this Azure, yeah, this is 112, right? So for this particular patient, we have this this information. So let me go here. So we have all these details, right? Now we are getting all these informations. Now it should go and call the history tools as well. So we'll see it. Assign, there are some validation error that we are getting. Something, yeah, it's performing some information like patient John D related information. Then it will go and call, and now we are getting this information. So heart rate at 82 bmp, PR interval 175 ms, age is 40, right? All this information that we are getting, and you can see it here as well. 40, 82 bmp, 175 ds, right? And now let me go here. So we are getting all this information. Let's see how exactly we are making the descriptions out of it. So patient history for this include the following details: patient name, this one, age is 40, rate, all this information that we are getting, type 2 diabetic, right? uh, and these are the medicine that is taking suggestions patient, so sign of um, bradycardia, right? So we can see it here, uh, doctor suggestions bradycardia, right? And this is another patient related information. So we are getting all these details, right? So this way uh, actually we can communicate. We have to first uh, get the get the details about that particular agent through the discovery, and then using that discoveries we can get that how exactly we can communicate, what are the details that we will get through that particular agent, and then we can use uh, to get and invoke that agents to get that information from the different agents, and as well as we can communicate with the MCP as well. So I think we are clear here.